Welcome to another episode of the Witty Wallet, the podcast that will change how you think about your money. I'm your host, Christopher Fu, financial advisor and founder of Mavenbridge Capital. The Witty Wallet is your number one source for invaluable tips and advice to empower everyone from beginners to seasoned pros in the financial world. Our world has a crisis. We have a lack of financial awareness and education. I believe many of you are yearning for help and guidance. Still, with an abundance of resources literally at our fingertips, too many people are either looking for a shortcut or they lack the resourcefulness to take control of their financial life because they either don't know where to go or whom they can trust or what information applies to their unique situation. If you feel this way, then this podcast is for you. Because building true wealth, which is rewarding and purposeful, takes an awareness of where you are today and understanding what environment, behaviors, skills, and beliefs you need to put yourself in order to get you to where you want to be. I'm sorry if you are looking for stock picks or get-rich-quick solutions, but this podcast is not for you. And trust me, I get it. Topics like managing debt, savings, investing strategies, tax and estate planning, and retirement planning are not the sexiest topics to discuss. But I am not aiming for that. I strive to create an awareness in your mind to start thinking beyond your limiting beliefs and offer fresh ideas and clever solutions to the most common financial challenges we face today. Join me as we delve into the current and financial challenges, address burning questions of our time, and discover what makes the Witty Wallet truly unique. Get ready to transform your financial future and let us guide you towards unlimited success and abundance. On this episode, which is part 3 of a 3-part series, we're continuing and concluding our discussion of how much do I need to retire comfortably by diving deeper into Social Security, legacy planning, and in the end, we're going to put it all together in a real case study. So stay tuned. Now, for those of you who have not listened to part 1 or part 2 of this 3-part series, I do encourage you guys to pause right now and then go back and listen to those first 2 episodes as I dive deep into getting into this question that I get asked a lot as a financial advisor. Again, how much do I need to retire comfortably? But just as a brief recap, we started diving into some of the things that I believe society has done a decent job on, which is helping a lot of us in the accumulation part of this elusive goal, which is retirement, right? Retirement is literally going to be one of the biggest transitions in your life, and it's a challenging transition. But again, society has helped us in some ways in the fact that most companies that we work for have adopted and made available to you guys 401k plans, 403bs, some type of retirement plan that you're able to contribute. And now they've gone as far as making contributions automatic. So sometimes when you get hired on, you're not even aware that you've been having money taken out of your paycheck that's going towards your 401k plan, which is great. Again, it sets up a behavior if you didn't think about that from the very get-go. And now, a lot of companies offer in their investment strategies target retirement date funds. And these are funds that basically will mimic your retirement journey. So the farther you are away from your retirement, you select that year, the more aggressive the portfolio, it's going to focus more on growth, but gradually it'll automatically shift the investments into more conservative, less risk investments without you having to do a thing. So you just continue to go about your day. So again, it's society has done a good job in kind of helping us and training us for the accumulation part. But where I feel the challenges today, and that's why I work with a lot of people and a lot of people come to me, is because there's not a lot of information or a lot of education or help around the decumulation phase or the spending phase of retirement, which is the most important phase in your life because, again, I believe it's one of the most exciting parts that we should all be looking forward to. But after working with individuals and families for so many years, I understand that reaching that phase is also very nervous and it's an anxiety time because you're transitioning from this period of where you've worked mostly all of your life and you have the luxury of knowing that you have a paycheck coming into your bank account because you worked for it. When you retire and you stop working, you no longer have that paycheck that's coming in because of your labor. You're going to be reliant on different sources for your income. Primarily for most of us, it's going to be coming from Social Security and also from what we've saved and accumulated, over that working time frame. So, to a lot of people in the initial onset, it can feel like a loss when they're starting to pull their money out because psychologically they've been so used to I'm putting money away and I'll see it, later on down the road in the future. And so just to switch that mindset and start drawing from it, again, it seems anxiety provoking because again, it feels like also a loss. And speaking of losses, as I talked about in episode 2 of this 3-part series, when you're retiring and you start to see and notice losses in your investment portfolio, your retirement accounts, we have this bias called loss aversion where we tend to pay higher significance and higher attention towards losses than we do gains in our portfolio. And that could be very anxiety provoking because, again, that could also lead to you potentially making wrong investment decisions that could jeopardize, what you've worked so hard for. So it's a very challenging thing to navigate this accumulation phase because we also have to factor in all the other factors that most people don't consider. For example, longevity risk. How long are we going to live? We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know that. So we have to account for these different situations and scenarios. And so when we talked about in the first 2 episodes, I went into my belief that understanding your cash flow needs and what you will need to spend potentially in retirement and breaking that down from discretionary and non-discretionary expenses. And then on top of that, further identifying and adopting a flexible spending plan and seeing what type of flexibility you may be able to have during retirement, potentially pulling more money out during times when the portfolios and your markets are helping your portfolios do well. It's kind of like getting a bonus. And maybe spending a little bit less in times when your portfolio might be struggling or the markets are down. But in order to do that, you have to first sit down and understand what your cash flow scenario will look like. And so once you can understand that, then that will help with the discussion of probably the most important benefit that you're going to be receiving towards your retirement, which are Social Security benefits. And so Social Security is the best annuity around, right? It's a pension, and it's going to be a pension for pretty much all of us. And depending on what you've accumulated, your spending habits, it's either going to be a majority of your income replacement, or it may be a small portion of your income replacement. Again, it all depends on your situation as you head into retirement. But like I said, more importantly, understanding what your cash flow needs will help determine, again, how much Social Security is going to play a role. Either it's going to play a great role or a minimal role, right? And as we talked about before, Social Security, you can start claiming Social Security as a retirement benefit as early as age 62. And as I mentioned before, when you start to collect Social Security that early, you will get a discount or you would lose out on what you would get if you wait till your full retirement age. And again, depending on when you're born, everyone's full retirement age will differ. But let's just say for all intents purposes, most people that are working right now, by the time they're retired 10 years from now, their full retirement age is going to be around 67, okay? But continuing that discussion, let's just say you also don't take Social Security, you can actually wait till 70 to collect Social Security. And when you do that, what happens is you get an 8% increase. Once you pass your full retirement age, you get an 8% increase on your retirement benefits. So, with just a wide range of 62 to 70, full retirement age, the question to ask is, well, when is the best time for you to start collecting your Social Security? And it's a important question to ask. It's a question that I get asked all the time, of course, because again, the goal is to, of course, retire, but also we want to be able to maximize your Social Security benefits. So before we dive into a case study to show you guys how I helped my clients maximize their Social Security benefits to their goals and what they needed, it's important for us to first understand the four different ways that one would qualify to receive Social Security benefits. So the first way to qualify for Social Security benefits is going to be the way that most of us will qualify, and that is an individual worker. And so to be eligible for Social Security benefits as a worker, you must be at least 62 years or older, or a person with a disability or blindness. And when you look at your Social Security statement, oftentimes it'll show your primary insurance amount. And in a sense, insured means having enough work credits. So you need to have enough work credits in order to be able to start collecting and be eligible for Social Security benefits. And the way you earn work credits, of course, is through your work. And how you earn it is you can earn up to 4 credits per year based on your annual earnings. And the amount of earnings required for work credits increases as general wage levels rise. So now to be eligible for most benefits, such as benefits for blindness or retirement, you must have earned an average of 1 work credit for each calendar year between the ages of 21 and the year in which you reach 62, or be a person with a disability, and up to a maximum of 40 credits. Keep things simple, right? Generally speaking, for retirement benefits, you're going to need 40 credits or at least 10 full years of work to be eligible to collect for. Now, you can also collect Social Security as a spouse. So, for example, let's just say your spouse was working and you were not working and you didn't earn enough credits to qualify for your own Social Security benefit. Well, as long as your spouse has enough credits to qualify, you would be able to collect Social Security benefits as well. Now, some things for that to take action is your spouse must already be claiming first in order for you to start receiving benefits, and you must be at least 62 years or older. And the maximum benefit that you can receive is going to be half or 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount or Social Security benefits. So say, for example, your spouse is entitled to $2,000. You will get up to a maximum of $1,000 at your full retirement age. Or if you want to take it earlier at age 62, you would get, for example, $700, right? That's that 30% discount. Now, the third way that you can receive Social Security benefits is by being an ex. Yes, an ex-spouse, as long as certain criteria are met. So one of the criteria is you had to have been married for 10 consecutive years or longer to your ex-spouse. You either have to have been divorced for at least 2 or more years, or your ex is already claiming and receiving their Social Security benefits. You yourself cannot be remarried, and you and your ex are at least 62, but your ex doesn't have to be claiming yet in order for you to start collecting your benefits. And just like being a spouse, as an ex-spouse, your max benefit is 50% of your ex-spouse's Social Security benefits. And the fourth way that you can receive Social Security benefits is by being a surviving spouse or surviving ex-spouse. So if your spouse has passed away, and you're a surviving spouse, of course, you can claim benefits as early as 60 But keep in mind, by claiming it at 60, your benefits will be reduced. Now, in addition to that, there are surviving spouse benefits that are available for younger moms. And in these scenarios, for example, if you have children and the children are 16 years or younger, and both the mother and the children will receive survivor benefits, which are going to be subject to family maximum limits. And these limits, they're available actually to be viewed, and you can see what those limits are on your Social Security statements. Now, the mom's benefit, for example, will continue until the youngest child is 16. Then it'll stop. The child will continue to receive benefits until age 18 or 19 if they're still in high school. And the mom's surviving benefit can restart at age 60 if she chooses. So now that we know the 4 different ways in which you're able to receive and collect Social Security benefits, keep in mind that you can only receive one benefit at a time. So again, if you meet the criteria for all 4, that doesn't mean that you can apply for all 4 and get a miraculously huge benefit, right? It's going to be one of them, and it's going to be the highest one amongst all the different choices. So as I shared with you guys earlier, for most of us, Social Security is going to be a very valuable income source during retirement. It's going to be a big part of it, or it's going to be a smaller part. But regardless, most of us, it's going to be a very valuable source for your retirement income. However, again, I tend to get a lot of people telling me that they want to take Social Security as early as possible because, Chris, you never know, I could die tomorrow, so I want to get some of my money now. And in fact, studies show that 52% of recipients actually don't wait until their full retirement age to claim. That means a lot of people are taking a reduction in their income benefits. And to kind of give you guys some more statistics, I love stats. In 2007, 76% of women did not wait until their full retirement age, and 71% of men did not wait. Now, fast forward in 2019, stats are a little bit better. 53% compared to 76% of women did not wait, versus 48% of men compared to 71% back in 2007 did not wait until their full retirement age. So again, it's important as you're planning to really see what's the best way to maximize your Social Security benefits. Again, just kind of looking at those statistics, I think that the issue is that a lot of people do not realize how impactful just waiting can increase your income. But at the same point, I do understand, again, that risk of the unknown. And this is kind of where cash flow planning and planning in general are so important so that you can make the right decision, the best decision, quite honestly, for your needs. And so as I'm having discussions with my clients and helping them figure out when is the best scenario or best time frame to collect Social Security benefits, there's a lot of factors that we need to take into consideration in order to come to the right decision. First of all, we got to consider the break even, meaning whether you take it at age 62 or you take it at age 70 or full retirement age, the break even is the age in which you've accumulated the same amount of money regardless of when you started. And the break even age is around 80. So statistically, again, longevity tables show that men will live to age 90, women to age 95. If you have a history of longevity in your family, living well past age 80, just that alone is something really to consider just by knowing that the break-even point is around age 80. Now, another important point to be aware of besides break-even age is taxes. Yes, your Social Security benefits can get taxed. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not aware of this. I meet a lot of people that actually think their Social Security benefits are not taxed because, again, they feel that they paid taxes already by paying into the Social Security system. But it is true, your Social Security benefits can get taxed. And your income, to be quite honest with you, actually has to be fairly low in order for it to be taxed. So to kind of give you guys some ideas, if you are an individual filing taxes, your combined income just has to be between 24 to 34,000, and up to 50% of your Social Security benefits will be taxed. If your income is above 34,000, then up to 85% of your Social Security benefits will be taxed. If you file jointly and you have a combined income between 32 and 44,000, then up to 50% of your benefits will be taxed. Greater than 44,000 in income, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits will be taxed. Now you might be wondering, well, what is combined income? What is considered combined income? So combined income is your AGI, or adjusted gross income, plus any non-taxable interest. So a good example of that is if you have money that's invested in municipal bond interests, right? A lot of high income earners will invest in muni bonds because it's federal tax exempt. And if you buy a state bond, for example, you reside in California and you buy a California municipal bond, you don't pay state income taxes. So the tax treatment is very favorable. But again, it would be counted towards your total combined income. So again, combined income is your AGI plus non-taxable interests plus half of your Social Security benefits. You add those three figures up, and that constitutes your combined income. So again, if your combined income falls within certain ranges, then a percentage up to 85% of your Social Security benefits will be taxed. So important thing to be aware of when considering what is the most efficient and the best way to maximize your benefits. Now, another thing to be aware of when claiming Social Security benefits is if you're still working. And so what I mean by that, so again, as we mentioned, you can start collecting Social Security benefits as early as age 62. But what if you start collecting at 62 and you're still working and you decide, I want to work for a few more years, but at the same time, I want to start collecting my Social Security benefits as early as possible at age 62. Well, for those who are thinking about that, please be aware that, again, once you start collecting benefits before your full retirement age and you're still working and you earn a wage, you basically, as long as you're earning an income, $21,240 for tax year 2023, what's going to happen is $1 of your Social Security benefit will be withheld from your Social Security check for every $2 over that income limit of $21,240. So again, you start collecting Social Security at 62, the earliest you can, but you're still working. If you're working and you're earning income greater than $21,240, keep in mind, your Social Security benefit, you're going to get $1 for every $2 you make over that income withheld from your Social Security check. So please, again, keep that in mind. Now, when does that stop? Well, once you reach full retirement age, the year in which you reach full retirement age, there is still going to be a reduction. So to kind of give you an example of what that means, let's just say your full retirement age is 67, but yet again, you're still working. And your full retirement age, you reach it this year in 2023. Well, the income limits for the months before you actually turn 67 is $56,520. Meaning, let's just say you turn 67 and that's your full retirement age, and you turn 67 June of 2023. That gives you 6 months before you turn 67. So you've earned income for 6 months. And let's just say that income that you earned for those 6 months is greater than $56,520. Well, then what's going to happen is you're going to have Social Security benefits withheld $1 for every $3 you earn over that limit. Again, once you hit full retirement age then and beyond, then there's going to be no limits on your earnings and nothing will be withheld from your Social Security check. So again, it's important to be aware of this as well when considering how to maximize your Social Security benefits, especially if you're continuing to work or maybe you plan to continue to work or you want that flexibility, it's important to realize this because again, a lot of people are not aware when planning for things, especially for retirement, that they could have some of their check withheld if they're taking Social Security early and they're working. And so, as we review everything that we just discussed, we can see that there are a lot of different nuances and things that one should be aware of when it comes to deciding when to take their Social Security benefits. Again, a lot of nuances from your age to reductions in benefits to taxes and if you're going to still be working. So, again, it's not an easy thing to juggle, and it's not as easy as saying I just want to take it as early as possible because again, by doing so, you forfeit up to 30% of of your retirement income. And as I mentioned before, for most of us, Social Security is our pension. It's going to provide either a majority for some people or a good chunk of your retirement income. So we must be smart about our Social Security, and the best way to do that is again to start planning and to start looking at your decumulation, your retirement in terms of cash flow, because that Social Security is going to be part of your cash flow in retirement for the next 20, 30 years and beyond. So again, it's not an easy choice just to say, I want to take it at a certain age. You have to consider a lot of different benefits in order to make sure that you're making the right choice for you and your family. And most importantly, you're maximizing the benefit for your needs, for your goals, and what you're trying to accomplish. And the last area of the decumulation phase that I think does not get enough attention that I personally enjoy and have a strong passion for focusing on with a lot of my clients that I do planning is legacy. It's what is your legacy going to be, not just after you leave this earth, but while you're living it, while you're in retirement. Because again, legacy doesn't have to be something that only is defined for you when you're dead or when you're gone. Your legacy, you can see your legacy play out in front of you. And it's a discussion, it's something that I am very passionate about trying to bring out of my clients and having them talk about and share with me because I believe for me, I believe that as an adult, our sole mission in life is to make sure that we build a world and we leave a world for the next generation, a better world for the next generation, and so that they can do the same for future generations. I truly believe that is one of the most important jobs that we have as adults. And how we can do that, of course, is through being responsible when it comes to our wealth and how we can use wealth to influence and impact that legacy. And that could be done in a lot of different ways. You know, I really enjoy this book called Happy Money. And it's basically this science of happier spending by authors Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton. And, you know, they did countless hours of research and they went into researching if money can buy happiness. And in fact, it can. You know, there's that old saying that money can't buy happiness. Well, there actually is. I think it's just also depending on how people view money and how they utilize that money. And what they've done is through their countless hours of research, they boiled down that money can evoke happiness through 5 different ways. And one of the ways is through investing in others or giving to others, right? Through whether that's through philanthropy, charity. I mean, studies show that we get happiness equivalent number of happiness when we give to others. So it's no surprise to me when people donate their time, when they're doing acts of kindness, they're giving from their heart. That again, it evokes this, like I said, this great amount of happiness in one's life, and it's utilizing that wealth, right, to help utilize happiness. So in talking about legacy, it's important then when it comes to financial planning and working with clients and in yourself, trying to figure out, well, yes, I want to be able to enjoy my retirement, but what does my legacy look like? What's important then to have discussions about what's going to be important. Is it going to be important to make sure that your heirs, your children, and your grandchildren, that they're able to see the world with you, and you want to be able to take them and travel the world with them while you're still alive and have those memories? Is it going to be important for you to be able to maybe help your grandchild with a down payment on their first home? We live in a world right now where it's very difficult for the young generation to afford a home. So maybe your legacy might be you want to be able to give that to them. You want to be able to give that gift to them and help them with the down payment. So having these discussions, again, is important because not only is it going to provide, obviously, that happiness for you to be able to see your legacy play out in front of your eyes while you're still here on this earth, but it's important because, again, it'll help in the overall planning and the discussion when it comes to your cash flow and to answer that great question, right? How much do I need in order to retire? Because I view retirement as much more than just no longer working. But again, I view retirement as the best part of our lives because it's also going to be the part where we get to see the fruits of our labor. We get to see and have the opportunity to see our legacy play out in front of you. So again, I don't feel that legacy planning, estate planning gets enough due credit. That's why for me, I have a strong passion in working with my clients to help them think about their legacy and what they want to see play out before them in front of their own eyes, and more importantly, what impact they hope to leave on their family and on this earth and on future generations. So now that we've gone over the different parts of the accumulation phase and identifying the importance of not just understanding how much money do I need in order to retire, but more importantly, the reason why we need to have an awareness of what our cash flow is going to be or potentially be, and more importantly, identifying and having a flexible spending plan, knowing what our discretionary and non-discretionary expenses will be in retirement. And by doing so, that's going to allow us to make sure that we maximize our Social Security benefits and that we make smart choices when choosing when to elect to receive our Social Security benefits. And then we talked about legacy planning and what you want your retirement and your life journey to look like, and the impact that you want to be able to leave on future generations. So again, in the summarized version, that's what we went through. And now I want to go into an actual case study. And of course, for this case study, for confidentiality purposes, I have changed the names to protect my clients. So, but this is an actual case study to give you guys an idea of how I helped these particular clients when it came to answering for them how much they needed to retire comfortably. But also we addressed topics such as Social Security. They had an important goal of wanting to maximize their income, but they felt that there might have been a need to take Social Security as early as possible at age 62. And also they wanted to make sure that they could maximize a legacy for their only son, Wyatt. So if you guys are visual like I am also going to post on our YouTube channel an actual walkthrough of this case study. So you can see the actual impact and the changes by certain recommendations that I made for the client. So again, I'm going to include that link in the show notes. And like I said, you'll be able to see the actual walkthrough and the impact of certain recommendations that I make. So again, my clients, right, James and Fran Beasley, they have one son, Wyatt. James and Fran just turned 62 this year. They're both 62, and they have a son, again, Wyatt, who's age 35. And they came to me, and upon our initial meeting, I discovered that there were a few things that were important to them. First, they wanted, of course, make sure that they can live a comfortable retirement. They wanted to be able to stay in their current home. That was very important for them. And it was important for them to be able to travel each year, of course, as long as they're physically able to. And what was also important was being able to leave a legacy for their son, Dwight, and his future wife and their future grandchildren. They wanted to make sure that they can leave a bequest, a certain amount of cash to them. In this case, we talked about it, and $500,000 was kind of their target. So background information, the husband, James, he retired 4 years ago, and his wife, Fran, still works part-time. She's an artist. Prior, they had both worked at the same company that offered them a pension. And so they're collecting that pension right now as we speak. James collects $34,000 a year. Fran, she collects $30,000 a year. So combined, they have about a combined pension of $64,000. They also have a rental, and that rental provides them rental income, which is about another $34,000 a year. And again, Fran does still work part-time as an artist, and last year she made about $31,000, and that was pretty consistent with what she was earning. So all in all, not counting Fran's income, but just their guaranteed income, or not guaranteed, but what they're receiving in pension and the rental income is roughly about $98,000. Now, in total, they have about $455,000 in investments in cash, with most of that being in IRA accounts. For healthcare costs, currently they pay $700 a month out of pocket for healthcare benefits, and that will continue up until age 65, at which point they're going to start to be on Medicare. And so we identify what their income was. Again, in total with the wife's income, it was about, again, 120 plus thousand. Now, their expenses, as I went through, we looked at their expenses. They had given me a budget for retirement of $72,000 a year that would cover, again, all of their basic necessities, dining out as well, discretionary expenses, as well as traveling. And of course, we have their medical expense, their healthcare expense of $700 a month, and also some additional expenses that we accounted for was they have a goal to do some home renovations. And so I asked them, what's kind of the budget for the home renovation? And they said it's $50,000. I said, okay, when do we want to do that home renovation? And they said they would love to do that next year, in 2024. And so, of course, understanding that, also the wife wanted to retire, or she wants to retire next year as well, in 2024. And so this is where the dilemma came into play as far as should they then take Social Security now? Because again, if the wife retires and they have this huge renovation budget of $50,000, that's going to surely deplete some of their assets, and they're going to lose the wife's income and their expenses, as what we calculated is more than their income. Naturally, they thought, well, let's take Social Security as early as possible, right? Because again, we're going to be able to make up that shortfall in the wife's lost income. Most people would look at that and say, it's a no-brainer. Let's take it at early as 62. We're going to have our expenses covered, right? But with that being said, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I told the clients that is true, but there's a lot of things that we have to consider. We have to first understand what is your full retirement Social Security benefits. So in this scenario, for both of them, their full retirement Social Security benefits would be combined about $66,000 a year. And for them, that is age 67. So keep in mind, again, they're 62. In order to get that full retirement benefit of $66,000 a year for both of them, they have to wait 5 years. Now, if they decide, no, I don't want to wait for 5 years, I want to take it now at 62, they're going to earn $46,000 combined in Social Security benefits. That's a reduction of $20,000 or 30%, right? Now, of course, I wanted to see, well, what if we waited till 70? What is that benefit? If they wait till 70, their benefit would be 81,000 combined a year. And that's an increase of 16,000 above their full retirement age benefit, or 24%, right? Makes sense. 8% a year, 8% for 3 years. That's what they earn additionally by waiting. Now, also some things that I forgot to preface was when doing these financial plans, as I mentioned before, we have to account for certain things, one being inflation. So for all intents and purposes, for this particular plan, I ran inflation to be an average rate of 4% a year for the next 30 years. And that's also going to inflate their Social Security benefits, but also, of course, that's going to inflate their expenses. Again, we need to know that it's important because, again, most people don't plan and don't think about how inflation can impact their retirement spending. And also for the purpose of the plan, what I also added in there was that James, we plan to live until age 90. That's what our simulation is. And for Fran, being a woman, statistically, again, women live longer. I simulated Fran to live up until age 95. So, again, as a summary, when taking a look at their current scenario, we have a picture where their expenses are over 105,000, and that's not counting any taxes that they're going to be paying for in retirement. Again, we can't escape death and taxes. There is going to be taxes in retirement. All of that depends on your total income and what you're bringing. So again, their expenses are estimated. We're estimating about 105,000. That's not counting the one-time renovation expense of 50,000, but we're talking about their cash flow needs. 105,000 per year, not counting taxes. As far as income, what is coming in, say wife retires next year, what is coming in is roughly about 94,000. So we know we're going to have a gap in income. So again, the pain point in this scenario is, do we take Social Security now at 62 to make up that gap, or can we wait? Do we take it a little bit later? The other pain point again is they have a large expense coming up, 50,000 for renovations. The last thing they want to do is take out a line of credit or refinance their home and take out more debt, especially going into retirement. They still have a mortgage left on the rental. So the idea for that renovation is to pull from their investments, to pull from some of their cash that they have sitting in their savings account. Again, they have about 455,000 total in investable assets, and taking 50,000 out is a big chunk, and that would leave them with about 400,000 for the next 30 years for their retirement. So again, looking at that, some might say that's not enough to retire. But again, we need to take a look at the entire picture, and this is where taking a look at cash flow and everything that can cover that cash flow becomes important. And in addition to that, Fran is not sure if she can retire, next year, if she has that luxury to be able to retire next year, or if she has to keep working. And more importantly, also, they're not too sure if their current investments are optimized and working for their benefit. So that was another issue that we took a look at. So again, these are different pain points that were important for them. And so what was the desired goal? What was the desired outcome? Well, of course, again, the wife, Fran, she wants to be able to retire next year. Her husband's been retired for a couple of years. She wants to retire so that they can begin traveling, right? That's a very important goal of theirs, to be able to enjoy their retirement and travel and see the world. Again, the other goal that's very important for them is to be able to leave a legacy for their only son, Wyatt. Wyatt has a girlfriend, and it's very serious. And their goal, hopefully, for Wyatt is to have children, and that's their grandchildren. And they want to be able to make sure that they can leave an inheritance for Wyatt and his family. It was important then for me to understand, well, what if we weren't able to accomplish or reach some of these, desired outcomes, and what would happen if we couldn't do that? Well, of course, Fran, she would have to still work, and or James would have to go back to work. And of course, being retired for a couple of years, most people don't want to have to do that. they stated that they would be willing to make adjustments to their spending or to their goals if necessary, but we're being honest and prefer not to. And again, it was very important, they stated, for them to be able to leave a legacy again to their only child. So to help them feel completely secure in their decisions in the next phase of their life, I completed a financial plan for them and showed them all possible scenarios in which that they could maximize their Social Security benefits, as well as other solutions that they weren't even considering that could maximize their wealth, and also help them achieve their goal of passing legacy on to their son Wyatt. So again, for those of you that are currently listening on audio, you want to see this on YouTube, you can actually see as I'm going through this on YouTube as if I were presenting it in front of my clients and showing them these different scenarios. So again, after collecting all of that important data that I just went over, what was their desired goals, what was their current cash flow scenario, what did it look like, how much assets did they have, then I started to compile a plan for them and started to simulate different scenarios. So when it comes to running a financial plan, there's obviously a lot of factors that we take into account. What is the potential return for investments, right? Based off of your current portfolio, we expect X amount of returns, right? 5% a year, 7% a year, whatever it is. But of course, we know that investments don't just earn 5% a year on average, 10%, whatever that fact sheet your advisor gave you. That's not how investments work, right? Investments go up and down, and what you're looking at on those fact sheets are average rates of return, right? So it's not the most reliable way of simulating what your investment is going to do over a long period of time. And this is where most planners and financial advisors will use something called a Monte Carlo simulation. And what a Monte Carlo simulation does is it simulates, based off of your current holdings and allocations, 1,000 possible trials. And all of those trials, the goal is to show how many of those trials will simulate money lasting till the end of the plan or till end of life. So the higher we can get that probability of success, the more confident we will feel and be in our recommendations to our client. And so for this particular case, for my clients, James and Fran, again, I simulated different scenarios for Social Security. One, to take Social Security, of course, at full retirement age. For them, it's 67. That's the default. But I also wanted to show them what if they took it at 62, because again, that was something that they were highly considering. And also I wanted to simulate, well, what if they took it at age 70? So all three of those scenarios shows that they have 100% probability of success. And what that means for you guys means that they have a high chance of never running out of money based off of their current cash flow needs, based off of their current income flows coming in and what they're anticipating to spend, right? That probability can change if any one of those factors changes. If they all of a sudden have a huge spike in their expenses, maybe an unforeseen medical expense that costs 50% more than what they're currently spending, or perhaps, as I talked about in other podcasts, the potential for Social Security trust fund running out by 2034, and if Congress doesn't do anything, that all beneficiaries of Social Security will see a 23% reduction in their Social Security check. I personally believe that won't happen, but if it does, that could change that probability for them and for so many other people, right? So again, based off of their current needs, their cash flow, what's coming in, what's coming out, their trials, all three simulations show 100% probability of success. And it's great, right? That's what everyone is hoping for. For their particular case, why this is because they have a very healthy cash flow. Again, they have a pension that's guaranteed money as long as the pension doesn't run out or go bankrupt, right? And they have rental income that is going to cover almost 90% of their expenses. That's a lot, right? That they have covered. So just that alone, and that's not even counting Social Security in this scenario. So again, what that does, then it gives them flexibility. I was able to show them that they have now flexibility in deciding when they could take Social Security, because based off of their pension and rental income coming in versus their expenses, that gap of shortfall is very small. And we can replace that either, again, by Social Security or by their retirement assets. So what if they default and we take it at 67? So as you can see, if you're on YouTube, again, what I simulated for them and showed them was that by age 67, if they take full retirement at 67, and James lives till 90 and Fran lives until 95, they would have, at the end of the plan, projected assets in their portfolio of about $4.3 million. And they'd have an accumulated net worth of about $8.4 million. So that's, again, if they wait to take Social Security at their full retirement age of 67. Now, what if they took it at 62? Again, we have that flexibility. We can take it at 62. That's going to help cover that gap. But what if they did that? How does that change the outcome of their wealth? Well, if they start collecting Social Security early, one might think, well, I receive income earlier, I can reinvest any net difference, right? Keep in mind, however, they are taking it early, and that's going to give them a 30% reduction in their benefits. But can that play an impact on taxes? Well, in this example, they take Social Security at 62. They would have a projected portfolio asset by the time the plan is done of $3.6 million. That's a decrease of almost $743,000 compared to if they waited till age 67. That's a significant difference. Again, if they wait till 67, they have a projected portfolio asset of 4.3 versus taking it at 62, it's 3.6. Right? That's a huge, huge difference. And so that's a lot to consider because, again, their goal is to maximize wealth, but also pass on a legacy. Now, taking at age 62, they would actually pay less in taxes over time compared to their full retirement scenario, and primarily because they're getting less in income. So if they were to take Social Security benefits at 62, they would actually, for the life of their plan, pay about $281,000 less in income taxes compared to if they just wait until their full retirement age. A little bit less in taxes, but the net effect is also, again, their net wealth. They're going to get less, or projected to have less net wealth by taking Social Security early. Now, I wanted to show them, well, what if we wait till 70? Again, and we relied more on your investments for the next 8 years to make up any gap, and we delay Social Security till age 70. Well, if they did that, they would have projected portfolio assets of about $4.8 million. And that gives them actually an increase of $466,000 above if they just waited till their full retirement. So by waiting 3 extra years after 67 to delay and take Social Security, that would increase and overall give them a positive net effect of $466,000. Now, of course, by waiting till age 70, that means they're going to get a lot more in income. And with that income, they would actually pay more in income taxes for the life of the plan compared to if they were to take Social Security at full retirement. And that difference would be an increase of $177,000 in income taxes. But again, the overall net effect, because again, taxes are considered part of this increase, they're still increasing their overall wealth by $466,000. So after going through these different scenarios to James and Fran, it opened up a lot of discussion because, again, it showed them the flexibility that they have in knowing that, hey, I actually don't at this point have to decide to take Social Security at 62. I have the option and the ability to if I wanted to, but I don't need to because based off of their cash flow, they're going to be fine with the assets that they have. So if they really truly wanted to, they can monitor year by year. As long as nothing changes, they can keep delaying and delay till 67 or even 70, and they can see the true benefit of what that is going to do to impact their wealth. And so I wanted to take this conversation a step further for them and show them additional scenarios that could potentially impact their wealth even more. And so upon conversating with them, and again, knowing that legacy was important for them, I had a conversation with them about considering Roth conversions. And for many of you who have been listening to me, can probably tell I'm a big advocate of Roth IRAs. I love Roth IRAs. I believe that they're going to play a vital role for a lot of us as we get closer and closer to retirement, because I believe that taxes will be higher than what they currently are. So again, the benefit of the Roth is that you get tax-free income in retirement. Now, with a Roth conversion, again, what that means is that they would be converting or shifting some of their pre-tax dollars in their IRA, meaning they haven't paid taxes on it. When they convert, they pay taxes today, and they would move that money into a Roth IRA. And as long as that money stays in that Roth IRA for 5 years and they're over 59 and a half, any growth that they've accumulated is going to be tax-free to them and tax-free to their beneficiaries, right? But also keep in mind, however much you convert is going to add towards your income. So if you convert $10,000 for 1 year, you're going to add $10,000 of income to your income for this year. If you decide to convert $100,000 into a Roth IRA, you're going to add $100,000 of income on top of whatever other income you're collecting. So that could drastically change your tax scenario and put you in a much, much higher bracket. And so we have to be aware of that too, because that's taxes that you are paying out of pocket. So we have to be mindful of what these conversions will do and understand that if we have the cash flow as well to pay the income taxes for it, because we don't want to pay it from the conversion. We want to make sure we have cash flow or cash on the side to pay for the taxes in order for a Roth conversion to be very effective in what you're trying to achieve. So in their scenario, what I did was I simulated doing Roth conversions up to maximize their current federal bracket. In this scenario, based off of their income and deductions and everything, right, they have a adjusted gross AGI bracket of around 10 to 12%. So I just put maximizing up to that tax bracket, because the next bracket above that would be 22%. That's a 10% jump. So again, I don't want to do that. So I wanted to show them, well, what if we just converted enough just to fill up your bracket, because we have the cash flow to pay that additional tax? What would that look like? So that's what we did. And I looked at two different scenarios for them. In this case, of course, I didn't do any conversions if they're taking Social Security at 62, because again, their income is going to be high. We don't want to do any conversions because I knew that was going to bump them into the next highest bracket. So the only consideration for a Roth conversion is either to convert until they start collecting at full retirement, or to do conversions starting at age 70 if they delay their Social Security benefit. So again, just to frame it, so we are, in this first scenario, we're delaying taking Social Security at 62 and waiting till full retirement, but also we're doing Roth conversions from now until age 67. What that has done for their scenario is they are projected to have portfolio assets of about $4.8 million. So very similar actually to the scenario where they take Social Security at 70, which is also projected portfolio assets of 4.8. So no difference there with the Roth conversion and taking Social Security at 67. But what that actually did was it decreased their taxes that they pay over the life of the plan by 63,000. So not too big of a difference. But where it really made a difference for them was Roth conversions till age 70 and delaying Social Security till age 70. When we simulated this, it showed them that their wealth would increase and be projected to be $5.2 million by the end of the plan. That gave them a much bigger increase compared to all the other scenarios, and that was an increase of $884,000 above the default scenario, which is taking Social Security at 67. Now, of course, we're doing Roth conversions and we're paying taxes for the next 8 years. So that did increase their overall taxes paid for the life of the plan up to 94,000. But again, the bigger number here is the total net wealth effect is a positive 884,000. So in this scenario, all things being equal, in order, if they want to truly maximize their wealth, well, the goal should be to delay taking Social Security till 70, again, pending any significant expenses to their retirement needs, their cash flow, and convert IRA money into Roth IRA just to fill up their tax brackets until age 70, and that will help them maximize their wealth. Taking Social Security at 62 would not be beneficial to them in these different scenarios of maximizing their wealth because, again, they have a very healthy cash flow. So it actually would hurt them in some ways by taking Social Security early. And as we talked about, again, they have a goal, a legacy goal of leaving Wyatt $500,000. And based off of the plan, they will far exceed that by potentially leaving him the equivalent of today's dollars, about $2.5 million by the time the plan is done. And so going through legacy and showing the actual estate transfer, right? When one inherits, in this case, Wyatt will inherit assets from his parents, he's going to have to pay some taxes and expenses. And most of that is going to be on the retirement account. But as far as to maximize legacy in this scenario, we're shifting a lot of that pre-tax money into Roth IRA money, which for Wyatt, that's going to be all of that Roth money is going to be tax-free to him. So this is where I showed the benefit of the Roth IRA conversions and how that can also how that actually maximizes the benefit also for Wyatt and not just them. Because in doing so, Wyatt right now, if they were to take Social Security at 62 and they live till 90 and 95, Wyatt will potentially pay in taxes and expenses when he inherits everything about $152,000 in taxes. And he would receive about $6.7 million. Not a bad chunk of change, right? But he pays about $152,000 in taxes. Now, if they delay taking Social Security till 70, and they do the Roth conversions as we talked about till age 70, he actually will pay only $83,000 in taxes and expenses compared to $152,000. And on top of that, he would receive $1.2 million more. He would receive $7.9 million. That's wealth creation right there. So you can see for this particular family why it was so important for us to take a look at cash flow and to understand what was most important to them. In this case, it was to not only make sure they can retire comfortably, which we know we can based off of their cash flow needs, but it was also to maximize their wealth and pass on a legacy. And for them, the best way, at least as it stands, is to delay taking Social Security until 70 and doing Roth conversions until 70, which is going to benefit not just their wealth, but it's going to benefit what they pass on to Wyatt and any other potential expenses or changes that might come up in the near future. Now, of course, as I tell all my clients, these plans are not set in stone, right? We're looking at your scenario today and we're planning for the next 30 years. So it's important for us every single year to review the plan to see what material changes have come up. Are there any significant changes to cash flow that we need to account for and readjust? Because that's going to help us determine, should we start turning on Social Security then earlier than we projected in the plan, or can we keep delaying? But again, now having this plan, this framework for them, they now feel a lot more confident in Fran's ability to retire next year, their ability to spend $50,000 of their $455,000 on their renovation. Now they can begin to travel, and now they have peace of mind knowing that they don't need to take Social Security early, even though there's a gap, that they can delay it. And what that's going to do, it's going to help them create much more wealth for themselves and eventually for their entire family, for Wyatt, his children, and the next generation. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, we went through all of this before I even talked about their investments or making any investment changes. So for them, their particular scenario, it wasn't a matter of we need to make drastic changes to their investments, or, we didn't even focus on their investments as a primary objective. My objective was to understand their cash flow and understand their goals and needs, and what are the things that we have present that affect that. Again, investments do affect a big degree of your overall plan, but I think the misconception is out there is that investments are first, and we need to focus on rate of return because that is going to be the defining success of your retirement or whatever goal you're trying to achieve. And I personally believe that it's more so we got to look at everything holistically. We got to understand cash flow. We got to understand taxes. We got to understand what's most important for you. Because by doing that analysis, then it gives now my clients, James and Fran, the flexibility to have more discussion about their investments. Because it also gives them the flexibility and the confidence to know that, hey, if we, again, make some changes to our investments and the market does not work in our favor one particular year, well, hey, we're okay because we have the cash flow to go through that. So like in episode 1 or episode 2, when I talked about that loss aversion bias, where we tend to pay more attention to losses than we do gains. Well, in their scenario, they're going to have more peace of mind and not feel that anxiety when the market is not working to their benefit, because we've determined that we have enough cash flow to cover their expenses and their enjoyment for retirement. Again, things can change, but at least this point, the work that we've done, it now gives them the peace of mind. So again, as a financial planner, it's important for me to see everything and not just focus on investments only and focus on portfolio management, but see how does that fit in and intertwine with everything else that it's trying to accomplish for you. Because that, by understanding what the purpose is, what we're trying to accomplish, it'll translate into how we should invest and what type of risk and how much risk is appropriate and what we should take in order to accomplish our goals. And so I hope you guys found this episode, this case study, very helpful. I truly enjoyed this episode, and I do plan to actually do more case studies, but because I can feel that with the real world application, that a lot of people will be able to gravitate that and actually see, what us financial planners, what we do. Again, we are here to help people. We are here to give advice and not just be portfolio managers. I feel the common misconception is that people look at financial advisors as people who only help you manage your investments, help you choose mutual funds, and manage portfolio. But there's a lot of us out there that don't just do that. we focus on the entire picture for our clients, and we help you when it comes to tax planning. We work very closely with your CPAs. We help you with estate planning and working closely with estate attorneys. Oftentimes, clients come to me for referrals for CPAs and estate attorneys, and a lot of times we've built these networks of connections that we can help bring those other professional advisors to be a part of your team. So again, I hope you guys found this information useful, and some actionable takeaways I have for you guys. If you did find it useful and you want to be able to implement this into your own plan, is, well, start analyzing your current retirement savings. Start analyzing your projected cash flow needs, right? What are your income needs or income, pension, Social Security benefits, rental income? What is that income source coming in to retirement? And compare that to your expenses. Again, break down your expenses from discretionary, non-discretionary. What type of flexibility does that have? And then when you do that, you'll understand that gap. What I also recommend you to do is to review your Social Security benefits regularly. And we used to receive our Social Security statement in the mail on our birthdays, but they stopped doing that. But for those of you that don't know, you can actually go to the Social Security website, ssa.gov, to create an account and check your benefits online. And I recommend doing this periodically so you can see and plan for down the road accordingly. Most importantly, again, I went through a lot of information. As you can see, there's a lot of things that one needs to consider in order to make sure that they're making the smart and the right decision for themselves. Again, I think it's so important that we don't just make a decision blindly, but we make a smart decision. So, consult with a financial planner for financial guidance. Reach out to your financial advisor. If you don't have one, shoot me a message, reach out to me. I would love to offer you any help whatsoever, but please do get help, any way possible, especially if this is something that you've been thinking about recently or starting to think about. And of course, again, I'm a big fan of legacy, right? Think about your legacy. Think about beyond what you want to do, but what do you want to do that's going to impact future generations, your family, and what type of mark you want to leave on this earth, and how you're going to be able to use your wealth to help achieve those goals. So again, thank you for joining me in part 3 of this 3-part series on retirement planning, and where we answer this question: how much do I need to retire comfortably? I hope you found, again, this information valuable. I hope you found it inspirational to help you secure your future while leaving a positive legacy. For more information about Mavenbridge Capital, please go ahead and visit us at mavenbridgecapital.com. Again, you can follow us on social media as well. And again, go check out our YouTube video on this particular case study. Check out our website with all the information. And again, I would love to hear from you guys. And if you guys need some help, like I said, please shoot me a message, shoot me an email. Love to chat with you. But again, my name is Christopher Fu, financial advisor, founder, host of the Witty Wallet. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great day.
Securities offered through Kestra Investment Services, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Kestra Private Wealth Services, LLC, an affiliate of Kestra is. Mavenbridge Capital and Kestra Investment Services are not affiliated. Kestra is and Kestras do not provide tax or legal advice. The opinions expressed in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Kestra Investment Services, LLC or Kestra Advisory Services, LLC. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your your individual situation. Comments concerning the past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as an indication of future results.